Call the meeting of the Historic Preservation Commission to order. And the first item on the agenda is elections. We need to elect a chair, a vice chair. I'm not quite clear about the bylaws. Do we have to approve bylaws?
We don't have any proposed amendments. They're just there in case someone wanted to bring something up. If not, you can vote on them as they are.
Okay. And then advocates, and I assume that everybody's had a chance to see where you're assigned and whether you're happy. Do I have a nomination for chair of the HPC?
So, have we got any input from Chris as to if he would like to remain?
I haven't received anything. Have you? I have not.
So I'm assuming he would, if he didn't say he wouldn't.
I would nominate Chris McSwain to remain chair.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, vice chair. The vice chair has served his term limit on the HPC and is no longer a member of the commission. So we need a new one.
So you seem to be doing well at backing him up in his absence. You've done it more than once. So are you interested?
I'm willing to do it, yeah.
All right.
No big deal.
I guess I'll go ahead and nominate Chandra Horner to be the vice chair of the commission.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. The bylaws, is there anyone here who would like to visit the bylaws or approve them as they now stand?
So I have no proposed changes. Doesn't look like we have any others, so I would make a motion to approve the bylaws as they are.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Lastly, the advocates for the districts. And I will say that I ask for a change in my assignment to Daniels Hill and suggested that Lower Rivermont and Middle Rivermont be combined because there's always confusion about where one is, and especially with Middle Rivermont. So I did request that change for me. I'm happy to stay the same. Let's see.
So the advocacies are not a voting matter. We just have them on here, and they're a way to distribute phone calls and resources for the citizens if they have anything. So we can make that change. The person who has Daniels Hill, Dr. Jonathan Scheib, will have to say whether he would be okay with that change.
I'm perfectly okay with that.
Okay, thank you.
And then you right now have a Rivermont Commissioner Scheib. Would you like to take over Rivermont as well?
Yes.
Would you be interested in trading?
I have no preference.
I have Pier Street Renaissance.
Yeah, I'm happy to take that.
Okay. Victoria. We'd like to switch Pier Street for Rivermont.
Okay. All right, we can do that. So you will have Little and Bar,
Okay.
and Commissioner Scheib will have Pier Street.
And I guess we'll have to wait and hear from Emmett, Chris, and Tracy. Okay. Everybody happy? Okay. Item number 2 on our agenda is approval of the consent agenda, and for Julie and Jonathan, we generally approve the whole, each item as one. So is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, all right. We will move on to the action agenda. And our first action item concerns the privacy fence at 2245 Rivermont Avenue. Is it Sarantos? Mr. Sarantos, if you would come forward.
Sure.
And state your name, your address, and then tell us what you are proposing
Sure.
to do.
My name is Chris Sarantos. My address is 108 Lambeth Court, and my property that we're talking about is 2245 and 2247 Rivermont Avenue. It's a duplex.
Okay,
And so there's been a lot of issues there between the two tenants that were going on. In fact, several times police had to show up, and there was issues with fights. And so one of the tenants decided to put up a privacy fence and solve at least most of that problem. They did. Somebody said, well, you need to get a permit, or you need to get authorization to do that. And that's why I'm here today, is to request authorization proactively to approve that fence that's there today.
okay, so one of your tenants put it up?
That is correct.
Okay.
They did ask if they could put it up, and I said, sure, go
Yeah.
for it. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, I didn't realize you need to go through this process to have that approved. So,
Okay, all right. Are there questions from the commissioners?
Again, it's in the back of the yard. It's not in the front. I mean, I'm not even sure you can see it from Rivermont Avenue on there.
So I have a few questions. I noticed it looks like it's, I guess, going with the property is one piece of, one plot, but it looks like you're dividing it with the fence.
Correct.
Is there any intent to fence the outer portion, or?
No.
No.
There's actually a fence on the outside today. It's a metal chain link fence.
I'm sorry, yeah, I'm with you. I
That's what
missed
it
that.
is.
Okay.
And that was always there. And now the new privacy fence, but of course that's not a privacy fence. The new privacy fence was put right down the middle of the backyard.
And towards the rear, I don't know what to call this, maybe it's canvas, or it looks kind of like.
Yeah, one of the tenants put that up too, just additional privacy. I can tell them to take it down if that's an issue. That's not a problem. That's looking from Columbia. That's not looking from Rivermont, so you know. That's in the back
Right.
of the yard.
So, I mean, I only have my opinion or preference. You have two different types of fencing, both coming together there, but then also on the property line by the sidewalk. I think it would look much better if it was uniform.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more than happy to take down the chain link fence if that helps. That's kind of, I've always wanted to do that anyways, just to be able to get a lawnmower back in there. So if that helps the situation, I'm more than happy to do that.
So if you remove that on the back, are you going to replace it with the wood, like in
I
kind,
just
or
leave it the way it is. Without
leave it
that.
open?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Oh.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that's more of an eyesore. The chain link fence is kind of one way. It's you know, it's kind of a mess. So.
Right, right.
What is the height of the fence that is erected there? Do you know?
I'm gonna guess. I can't see over it. I'm not very tall, but I'm gonna guess it's at least 6.5, 7 feet, at least.
So per the bylaws, at least what's suggested or recommended is 6 at the max. I didn't get out. I thought it was higher as well, but I didn't get out and measure it.
My guess is, if it's higher, my guess is it's higher than 6, but I don't know for sure. I'd have to go out and measure it to see. Kind of hard to tell. Well, you can look at the door. I mean, that door.
Right, that was kind of what I used.
Yeah,
but
that door is
these old
probably
houses, there's such
7
variation.
feet, I'm guessing. I
Right,
don't know.
right.
So that can give you kind of an idea as to how tall it is.
I don't know what to say. It's a tough one because it's already done.
Yeah. Again, I apologize. We didn't know. They went ahead and put it up.
Other thoughts?
Julie and Jonathan, do you have any?
Looks nice from the other
Thoughts,
side.
Right.
Their side
Yeah.
intended to put it up. There's a chain link fence on that side too, separating the two properties between the two houses.
I kind of agree that it's a bit difficult since it's already done. So,
So I know you had suggested potentially removing the chain link that's on the side that we can see. Would there also be removal from the other side because it's
Yeah,
on
that's
both sides?
separating two physical properties. And there's a lot of trees up through there too, and brush. I wouldn't want to replace
Okay.
that. The front one, I really don't care, because like I
Is
said,
that- yeah.
it's tough to get even a lawnmower back in there, because there's a small opening. So I have no problem
Right.
doing that if that's what you guys
Right.
would prefer me to do.
Okay. Is the other side, is that fence on your property or is that the neighbor's
I don't know.
property?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a good question. I think I put a picture in. I don't know if of the other side of the fence. I submitted a picture. I don't know if it's up there. You may or may not be able to see the chain link fence from that picture. I don't know if you guys have it.
I think this was the only photo.
Yeah, I didn't take that. Somebody else took that one. And I submitted 2 other pictures along with the application. I have them on my phone if that helps.
So I'm personally, I'm not in favor of it. We have 2 different types of fence, and the new fence is, we're pretty certain over what the guidelines are. I appreciate that you're willing to remove it and back, but we still have 2 different types of fence that's visible. And again, the one that's still, I'm fairly certain, over what the guidelines are.
I mean, I could cut it back. That could be, if the height is the issue. Obviously, the 2 different types of fences.
Right, it wouldn't resolve that.
Yeah, right.
Our problem when we deviate from the guidelines is that it always comes back to bite us. That somebody said, well, his fence is
Yeah.
X feet, and
Several different types.
So I guess what's the requirement for several different types of fences? There's a requirement that says all fences need to be uniform?
I don't know that it says that. I know that if you were going to come request one to put up a fence,
Sure.
that would be
Yeah.
what we would expect. I can't recall somebody adding fencing that was different than what already existed since I've
Yeah.
been on.
So right now, the commission should just focus on the fencing that's been put up. We cannot compel people to change something that's outside of what was done or what's outside of the application. But if there's, the
Sure.
commission can always work with the petitioner for a conditional COA. This can be, there are different ways to think about this, but at the moment, I would recommend just look at the fence that's been built and focus on that.
so could we
One person.
approve a 6-foot fence?
You could do a conditional approval for a 6-foot fence, and the petitioner could cut it back.
I mean, I guess that seems like maybe the best option, but it's, it doesn't look the best necessarily, but being that there's some issues.
Kind of eliminates the privacy part of it, right? Since a lot of people are going to be over 6 foot tall.
Well, at that point, then
Yeah.
we could just remove it altogether. It still creates a barrier at 6
Sure.
feet.
Yeah.
Can you put the picture back up really quick? Is that pink, is that a cement wall that's backing up to the fence?
That is an old garage that was there,
Okay,
is what that is. That
Okay.
that is collapsed.
gotcha,
But
okay.
that is a cement wall. And it
Okay.
runs, actually, the fence runs right along that cement wall.
Okay, right up against it, gotcha.
Do I hear any motion?
Yeah, I can't tell how tall it is. I mean, I go out and measure it. If I need to cut it 6 inches, whatever.
I'm not making a motion to approve. I'll
Okay.
let discussion take place if someone else wants to.
Okay.
Is that a motion to approve as discussed?
No, I said I'm not going to. That's, but I'm only one, right?
have any thoughts, Jonathan?
I think I would be okay if we say that it has to be a max height of 6 feet. So I'll move that we do conditional approval on that matter.
Okay, is there a second?
I would second that.
Okay. Further discussion, and what we will be voting on is conditional approval of a 6-foot privacy fence.
Sure, so I have, I guess, questions or part of the discussion. Are you allowed, the part that's in the back, is that staying as it is, or?
Canvas part? Okay, yeah, so I would definitely motion to remove that.
Yeah.
Both in the back and it looks like in the back of both properties, like both sides. And is the porta potty?
Yeah, that's
need to be-
temporary. They had to
Okay.
put some stuff in the back.
Okay, so that's coming
That's not
out.
part of the fence.
Okay, it just looks like it's, I wasn't sure if it was like holding it up or what, because it's up against the canvas part. Yeah, so definitely removal of that. Yeah, I think if we were talking about building a fence to match the rest of it, then that would be.
Which we can.
Yeah,
Right.
right, so.
So right now we have a motion on the floor for the conditional 6 foot made by Jonathan Scheib and seconded by Julie Arrington. If you would like to make an amendment to that motion, you can. It looks to me that the canvas is not a permanent structure.
It's not.
So I don't think that's something that HPC has to vote on per se.
Okay.
I think that can be a request, but that's not a physical improvement to the property.
Okay. Further discussion? All right. Would you like to call the roll, Eve?
Do we do roll anymore?
We did that for virtual meetings so that
Right.
we could hear, but in this case, I think we can see who
Okay.
votes for something or not.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay?
Okay, good. All right, do you have any questions?
Yeah, what did we just approve? So,
We approved a 6-foot
6 foot.
fence.
Okay. So if I go out and measure, if it's 6 foot, I can leave it as is. If it's
Yeah.
6'3", I gotta take 3 inches off the top.
off. Mhm.
Okay, just want to make sure. Okay.
And
appreciate it.
for aesthetics, you might consider making them match.
Well, then I would have to come back and have it approved, correct? If I want to do that.
But that would be an easy
That would be
approval.
I
easy.
understand, yeah. Okay, well, I appreciate it, guys.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so
All
much.
right, thank you so much. All right, our next item is a request of Robert Bowen to replace windows at 109 Cabell Street.
Hi.
Hi.
My name's Bob Bowen, and I live at 1504 Somerset Drive in Lynchburg, and I bought the house at 109 Cabell Street for my daughter. She's a teacher at Lynchburg City High School at EC Glass, and this is going to be her home for the next whatever. And what we're trying to do is, we bought the house, it was fairly nicely done before we got it, but there were things that we knew we needed to address. One was the back entrance, which you were nice enough to approve last time I was here, and one was the back roof, which you were nice enough to approve the time before when I was here. But now I'm looking at the house and trying to think of how we could nurse windows that were there in 1893, and I think it's time to just give up the ghost and try to do something that looks identical to what's there, but is new and will allow the house to be maintained for another several generations. And so, when you go in the house and you look at the windows, all the top sashes, they're painted and they might as well be cemented in. If you've ever tried to take out top sash windows without breaking them, you'll realize how difficult that job is. I did that job 25 years ago in my own house. So I can tell you, you can't pay someone to do it for you. It's just too much work. So the bottom sashes, some move up fairly easily, none with the fingertip type thing, none like this. Some, you have to jiggle it, you have to wiggle it, and I'm concerned, what if there's a fire and you're in the house with the windows, you have to wiggle. What do you do? So I'm saying, now's the time, I think, to put in windows that the sash comes out quickly and you can get through the window. Several other problems exist. You know, the windows aren't tight, and so we get lots of, they call them ladybugs, but there's some other beetle in the south. It's not a ladybug, looks like one, and stink bugs. And we get those a lot, and you know, constantly battling with them. Even with the plexiglass inserts that we had to put up to keep the temperature from, let me back up. We had to put the plexiglass inserts in because the temperature was set at 69 degrees, and I walked in the house and temperature was 59, couldn't get any higher because too much air was infiltrating through the windows. So the problem is either put on screens, storm screens, or new windows. Seems to me to be really the only solution that is going to be safe, is going to allow air infiltration, is going to allow windows to be clean. That's another thing. If you look at the pictures of the house I gave you, you'll see the problem we have with cleaning the outside windows is, you know, you have to hire somebody to do it every time you want to clean your windows because the windows are just very high. So in substance, what I'm thinking is new windows that really are designed, and Amy Burchick from LG Flint will talk about that for a minute, windows that are designed to look like the historic windows they replace is what I'm proposing. It's, as you can see looking, not a cheap solution, but it's a solution that I think is ideal for this house, which is well made. It's a very nice house, and I intend to make it nicer.
Okay. Any questions of Mr. Bowen?
I would like to hear a little bit about the windows, if that's okay.
Sure,
They're
sure.
continuing to replace.
Absolutely. I'm Amy Burchick from LG Flint. We have found a project. It's called Legend. These are revived Legend windows. And I brought a brochure with me that I can leave with you, but they're actually made for historical properties. They're wood interior. They're a cellular PVC, which is paintable, but it's also not susceptible to rot for the exterior. And they have they have the slope sill. The mullions are the correct size to match the historical windows, and love for you to take a look at it. Extremely energy efficient, and in this day and age of fossil fuel costs and trying to maintain these homes, I think that's extremely important to make them livable, as well as the safety factor. If this young lady is in a bedroom and the house catches on fire, what is she going to do? Throw a chair through a non-tempered 1850s window and hope to get through the storm window that's screwed onto the outside as well? This adds another layer of safety for the resident as well.
And you said the exterior is PVC, so like vinyl? Is that?
It's a cellular PVC, so it's more along the lines of like a hardy plank, but it's paintable.
But it's a synthetic, right?
Yes, but it's made to look like wood.
What is the lifetime of these windows?
They come with a 25-year warranty, but they should last well beyond that. And they're used in many historic projects.
Historically, we are not in favor of the synthetics. I live in a house that was 1915. It has the original windows, so I know what you're talking about having to work free the paint that prior parties have left. And
I can describe in detail how you do it. I've done it.
it's painstaking, I get it, yeah.
Well, but you're also looking at windows even painstakingly once you have removed the hazardous lead paint that's been painted on there for many, many decades. You're also talking about single pane, low efficient windows that really don't do much to make that house livable in this day and age when we're looking at greenhouse fossil fuel energy issues. I think this is actually a really good response to that issue. Rather than screwing on a storm window to the outside of the house, which I've seen many of the homes do, and to me at least, that certainly doesn't look very historical.
That screams 1950s to me, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, I mean, I certainly hope you could see this as an alternative. And I'd be glad to bring in, you know, a corner section sample.
Sure.
It might take a little bit to get
Wood frame
one, but-
window or wood exterior is what we would view as an alternative.
I'm sorry?
Typically, a wood window is what we would view as an
Well,
alternative,
The window is wood, it's just the
not the
facing.
exterior, right?
The exterior is a product that is meant to last beyond wood. It's meant to look like wood, paint like wood, but much like a lot of the AZEC products and Hardy Plank products out there, they're actually lasting longer than the wood products are with less maintenance. So instead of putting the expense into getting these windows in and 5-10 years down the line, having them start to rot out, especially in our Lynchburg weather environment, or looking shabby because they need to be repainted once again, this product will maintain that look much longer and be more of an aesthetic value to its neighboring properties.
And I don't mean to make one more point. I have the money now, I may not have it then.
Fair enough.
And, you know, who knows?
I agree with Michael, though, that we've been very cautious about approving any replacement window except with wood.
No.
And on Cabell Street in particular, we've had issues. And
Well, how do you solve the problem of not being able to open them when you need to get through them? I'm just struggling with that issue and why you sit there and, you know, seem to blithely ignore what I consider a real safety issue when I start thinking about it. And I'm just nervous about having
thought
to
we
try to
just-
get through those windows when you can't open them or not open them easily. And I mean, you can come over and look.
Sure, so I thought we just discussed the process of removing the paint or freeing them, and maybe you have to get the counterweights in them redone. I understand that that's not a simple process.
Why? It's not a simple process. I don't know who's going to do it. I'm 74 years old now, not 50, and I can't do it.
It
And I gotta
is
tell
cost
you-
prohibitive
I got to
for
tell you that it won't
majority of
happen.
people.
It will not happen if that's the case, because I don't have enough money to pay for it. And, you know, I'm not trying to be difficult, but every
Neither am
once in a
I,
while
sir.
you get
Neither
frustrated.
am I.
And I'm frustrated because it sounds so easy to say it, but would you like me to describe in detail what you have to do to one of those windows to make it work?
That's not necessary, not for me
Well, then,
anyways.
well, but you seem to say, yeah, you could, it's like you can do it. It's the saddest ways is the easy part. That's the last thing you do.
And like I said, I'd be glad to bring in a sample piece of it for you to look at.
I'd like to see a sample of this. Is there any way we could find out if anybody else has approved this particular product?
We can take a look. We can take a look. I know that we had a project several months ago where you were looking at synthetics, and it was a frontier project in the sense that we haven't encountered these types of materials before, and they are not within the guidelines, except that the guidelines do say vinyl will generally not be approved. Sometimes it may be approved when it's not visible on the sides or the rear of the building.
It's not vinyl.
It's agreed.
It's a synthetic.
It's a synthetic, so
But vinyl is ugly. These are not vinyl.
we are in new
I just don't
territory
understand.
in terms of new materials.
I'm having
Can
trouble
we move
understanding
to
this.
see a sample of the window at the next meeting?
You can do that. You can
And then-
postpone, you can request materials, you can do research. You do not have to make a final decision now.
I would like to know a little bit more about the material
Okay.
and have a chance to see it before I'm willing to
Yeah,
approve.
I'd like to see it as well. So I think we need a motion to table this item until next month.
Okay.
So
And like Victoria said, you are moving into new territory, I understand that. And I hope this is, you know, when I bring the example in, it's something that more people will have available to them, because it is a fantastic product. Historical areas around the nation are using it because it is more cost effective. It allows us to get more of our historical homes up to speed, and not such cost intensive, labor intensive, and still energy deficient windows because they're historical.
Yeah.
Well, we
and
want
I'll make
to,
that last point if I could. Even if we were to fix all the windows and the sashways, we still would have to put storm screens on to make them energy efficient.
Right, but that's doable. I did that in my own house. But we want to work with you, and it will help us immensely.
And I have one other question, because you may not like this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What's the appeal process if I don't like your decision?
So there is an appeal process.
Yeah.
Right now, for table, that's not a decision per se, so it's not appealable. But when they do make a decision, whether an approval or a denial, denials, you have 15 days to approve to the clerk of council. You put that in writing. You would have to put a sign advertising the date that it would go to city council, and then it would need to be advertised as a public hearing. It would go to council for their decision.
Okay.
So I move to table this until the next meeting, pending a sample of the window, and I would like just a little bit more time to do some more research.
Okay.
And I'll leave the brochure with you.
And I
Yeah.
encourage you to call me so I can describe just what's involved in fixing these windows, because I did it in my house 25 years ago. It took me 2 years, by the way, because it's just not easy, and nobody's going to do it. I'd guess at least $50,000 or $100,000 to have somebody come do it. I'm telling you, just because I know what it takes.
All righty. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, well, we will see you next month.
Thank you very much.
And
Could I give you my phone number, or do you want to talk about this?
I
Because
think you're his advocate at this
Right.
point, correct?
Right. I'll be in touch.
this is very frustrating.
I'm sure.
I've got a really nice solution, and I hear people making suggestions that I know just won't work.
Perhaps we just need to get smarter on this again, sir. It's something that's new to us. You're right, it's not vinyl. Vinyl's what we've been presented many times and are not in favor of. So again, maybe we just need to get smarter on this new product.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you. We'll help educate you.
All right, thank you. Okay. Next item is the request of Kelly Maddox on behalf of the Lynchburg Art Club to paint the front door and front shutters of the Art Club building on Rivermont Avenue. If you will tell us your name and address, please.
Thank you for having me. I'm Kelly Maddox. I'm the new president of the art club. And you have gotten some information from me.
Right.
I showed you a before and an after of what I'm proposing. Is we had approved on the 2017, y'all approved the statue and our sign that we had created and put in May. And the color of tangerine, which is this paint right here, we got a can left, was the color that was used for the statue and the sign. We're getting ready to celebrate the 61st anniversary, our 60th anniversary, excuse me, of the Lynchburg Art Club being incorporated. The building was bought 1011 Rivermont Avenue in 1961 for $8,500. I thought y'all might enjoy that. Originally, it was a rental property, but it was of 130 members of the art club, basically gutted it, turned around and made it galleries, made it exhibition hall. We have a kitchen, we have offices, we have classrooms upstairs, we have a library, and we have studio spaces. So we've been very active. Also, you have seen in our history, we were created in 1895. And so we are one of the oldest art venues in Lynchburg. And we're very proud of that. And we have been giving back to the community in a lot of ways. And I want us to stand out. We are getting ready to do our 48th Art Festival at EC Glass, which is in September. We have about 150 artists that come then to participate from about 3 or 4 states. We have a scholarship that has been around since 2000 that we raise money from that show to support for students going to university majoring in art. So with all of that, we're celebrating in September our 60th anniversary. I want on Rivermont for us to stand out like with the statue and with the sign. You've also have seen that I have given you other examples of, we are in a business section of Rivermont Avenue, and there's also another designated business section of historic Rivermont, which is up there near Randolph-Macon. So I went around and took photographs, you guys. And there is a blue, yellow, and that's across from Cavalier. That is 836 Rivermont. That's an orange door. Okay, this is right across the street from us, Art Club at 1011. We also have a purple door up near Miles Market at a church. So basically, I'm just trying to have a continuity, to have a presence for our celebration in September, for people to drive by. Like in painting, I'm an artist, things repeat in 3 ways. So we have 2. We have 2 orange pieces, the sign and the sculpture, and I want our eye to go to our doors, okay? We've also come up with a new logo. And I think I've sent you that too. Here are the colors. Obviously, we're repeating the orange and then the blue. Now, I did propose that the orange that I gave you in a swatch is not the exact tangerine. I made it a little darker because I put it up against the door thinking the tangerine color was a little light. So I moved it down to a little darker, which I think underneath the shadowing of the porch would look a little bit better. Now, I love color. My paintings are very colorful. So I also said, wouldn't it be nice to repeat the blue? Now, in the blue, if you were looking back at the original before and after, and I apologize, I did not put that on the before and after. But I would indicate if we did do the blue, there are windows that have the shutters that I would repeat the color in blue. But my main concern, if this is not to your liking, which I think is very attractive though, the blue, and repeating our logo, I really would love to have that orange door to stand out from the road. We are a business, we are a nonprofit art club, and we're open to the community. So any
for
questions?
clarification, it's just the 2 for shutters. It's the first level on the front porch only. Those are the only 2.
Yeah, we only have one. We only have that door. It's a double. You know, the double door. That would be the only door that will be painted the orange.
I was asking about the shutters.
Shutters.
The shutters, I would go for the blue.
I understand that. I'm asking, it's only the 2 windows on the front porch.
Yes,
that
sir.
have shut. Okay.
Yeah, and they are permanently closed because on the interior, that's an interior wall of an exhibition area. So those shutters are permanently closed. Now, in the sense of looking at, y'all listed me as a Foursquare, I understand the principle of saying your facade, your paint color for your building. I understand the white columns. I understand all of that. But I'm just trying to punch the little areas that we can the door and the shutters just to be standing out as an art club, you know, and we are open to the community. Okay.
Any
I
comments?
think you told us your orange that you're proposing for the door is a little different than the
It's a little
orange.
darker than the tangerine, and that's why I thought it looked better. And I put, as you see there, if you bring that up, the lighter one just does, it just not right. The darker one tends to sit back a little bit, and it's resting to the eye. The other one was just a little garish to me, but I do think the darker version is nicer. And I had other people on the porch looking at it with me and made their decisions as well.
Questions or comments of Ms. Maddox?
I'm opposed to the idea. The precedents you suggest were done, as far as I understand, without HPC approval, correct?
Correct.
Right. I just think it's really bright. And from a marketing standpoint, your sign does stand out. I'm not sure.
Well,
if
and
this is
the
necessary.
statue stands out. Yeah. I'm just, as a counterpoint, I'm trying to balance this as saying, this is the entrance, stand out, this is the way you come in from the road. It's really, and I'm in marketing. I've done that all my life, yeah. So,
Well, I live in the area, I've driven past it many times, and it's a beautiful property. To me, I think the structure and the sign out front kind of declare that it's an art club. I'm not sure that changing the color of the door necessarily emphasizes that or clarifies that that's the main entrance. I mean, you can't see any other entrance from the street, so to me, it's not really a matter of this is where you come in, so let's change the color because of that. But I know, as an artist, I can appreciate the sentiment of wanting to unify, you know, the door with the,
I want to unify and stand. You know, what happens is people will ride by, and believe me, non-artists, you know, I would say, somebody said, well, what is that thing in the front? And I said, well, it caught your eye, you know, because it stood out. So the main thing is to say, with the door, you're standing out as well, to say, this is where we go. And, you know, again, I'm just trying to brand ourselves in a way that we stand out.
And you did mention that you're changing the logo.
Excuse me?
You mentioned that you're changing the logo of the
We
art
have
club.
done it. The logo is this.
Is
I
that,
sent
is
y'all
that what's currently on the sign?
Huh?
Is that what's currently on the sign?
That is not on the sign. It's just a different script that was done in
Okay.
2017.
Okay, so it hasn't been
What we're
changed.
also doing is a banner. I'm sorry, I have not sent that to you because I just had it created. But the banner is going to look like that on the Teddy. Can I hand them to you? Okay, great. I've been busy.
Where is the banner going
The
to
banner will
be?
be up in September for our celebration.
Oh, okay.
And so we have a slogan that says, experience our past and celebrate our future. Let me get one more. And because of our history. And so you'll see the new logo will go on it. And then what I would like to do is, I'm talking to the people that are creating it, we will be able to take it apart, you know, with grommet and everything. One section like the logo here, we can use that as a flag if need be.
Thank you.
But I'm just trying to do the continuity of your eye travels, you know, and sees, you know, things repeating itself.
Can I ask a question? Are we also voting on the color of the shutters today, or is it strictly the door?
We need to vote on both,
That's fine.
but I think, could we separate both if we wanted to? I don't have a problem with the door. I have a problem with the shutters. And
I
the reason
thought that might be.
the reason I don't have a problem with the door is in that area there are so many doors that just jump at you.
Yes.
And this would not be any different. It is absolutely against their guidelines.
I understand.
So,
I'd be happy with the door.
any other thoughts? Would anybody like to make a motion?
Come to our party.
I said, you can make one too.
I think I'm not allowed to make one. So, no, I think not. So, Victoria, if there's no motion, then there is no approval.
That's,
So I make a motion to not approve. I'm not in favor of it. I know we all have opinions. That's mine.
I second the motion.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in, now, and this is a both, the door and the shutters. You didn't separate them, okay? All those in favor of not approving, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed, then I'll say aye. Okay, I'm sorry, but you are not
had to try.
approved. Yeah.
You know
So,
that.
and we thank you.
Well, come to our party. We're celebrating the 60s. We got a 60s band and 60s music and costumes, and it should be a lot, and pop art.
Okay.
Go-go boots, all that wanted.
Okay.
Thank you for hearing
Thank
me.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Ms. Maddox. All right. Next on our agenda is the request of Everett Lacroix to replace a metal roof at the rear porch with an EPDM material at 1011 Harrison Street. Is there?
He won't be able to make it, but he's okay if the commission wants to proceed with this contract without him.
Okay. Would you all like to proceed without him, or would we like for him to come back? I don't know the material, and so that
Yeah,
just
I'm not
threw
familiar
me,
with
and
that
I
either.
tried to find out more about it, and I didn't.
I am familiar with the material. I'm not, I can see the pictures, but I don't know the situation on his roof that is making him apply for this. So personally,
Yeah.
I would like to hear from him.
Yeah, so let's ask him to come back. Okay. The next action item is a request of Ann, is it Shay? Shay, on behalf of Orange Canoe LLC to do extensive work at 415 13th Street. Okay.
So nice to meet you all.
Okay.
I'm Ann Shea, and Orange Canoe is myself and my parents and husband.
Okay.
This is Oliver Gohagen, where he's helping us bring the sweet house back to life. We've never done this before. So I have
Okay.
a couple of printouts. I don't know if I should share them with you or...
Is it
Uh,
that we-
Yeah, we've,
Sure.
yeah.
And my name is Oliver Gohagen. I'm
Thank
a
you.
licensed contractor in Lynchburg who specializes in historic restorations. So I'm kind of guiding her through this, but doing the actual renovation for her as well.
All right. Well, you have quite a list of,
I know. Sorry about that.
so.
It's a lot to go through today.
So how would we like to proceed, one by one? Starting with the gutters and then moving on to HVAC and then windows, I guess, are mostly. So if you would tell us what you are proposing to do and why.
Yes, ma'am. So we're proposing to do on the front, which is just a half-round gutter, a 5-inch half-round. The 5-inch half-round already exists on the back. We're going to be replacing the metal roof with a 1-inch standing seam which is typical of that age and that era. There is a hidden gutter on the roof now. But since it's so dilapidated, we're going to try to save a little money by just doing the 5-inch gutter instead of rebuilding, which I've done plenty of, hidden gutters and rebuilding them. But in the nature of the house, we're trying to do it the right way, but also save a little, in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
So we're proposing the 5-inch gutter, which is already on the house, existing. Just because of the shallow pitch too of the roof system, that's what we're proposing for that.
Okay. Any questions?
What's the existing roof? It looks like there's
It's a metal
Metal.
seam.
It is?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And a lot of tarp. There's
Yeah.
not a lot of
I
roof
think
left.
what I was seeing is
Right now, it's tarped off, but
It
it's
will be
1 inch.
wonderful. It's not wonderful yet.
And what did you say you were replacing the roof with?
Metal.
Metal.
Metal standing seam.
Are you, okay. I'm not sure that
And I
I,
think this was already approved, actually, so I don't, we kind of threw it back in, but the previous person who owned it, I think, am I correct, Victoria?
Yes, Victoria Bartholomew came with, for the HBC and it was approved.
Yeah.
And that's still
So, standings.
active, if
It's
that's the
still-
I
word,
believe it's
right?
that it's 1 year expiration date, so.
Okay.
Yeah, and if it's replacing kind with kind, we're good. Standing seam with standing seam, yeah, okay.
so are the hidden gutters able to be redone with a metal roof? Not,
Yeah, with extensive work,
okay.
it is. It would require a lot of manipulation on my part,
Okay.
It would incur a lot of costs. And the reason I was suggesting is because it's already in the back of the house.
Mhm.
Because the pitch is so low,
Right.
that I think that's why it required them.
Mhm. Okay.
We're gonna match the front with the back and on the front facade, the little porch off the front.
Our next door neighbor also uses this type of gutter as well, so we thought that could be helpful. There are only 2 houses on the block, so that's the
Yeah.
only house to compare to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So are we gonna go through and vote on them one at a time? Is that the intent?
So I would recommend that the petitioners go through and explain each item.
Okay.
If there are any that you would like to vote on separately, as in you want to have a discussion on them, we can do so. We'll write down the ones you want us to revisit.
Okay.
Otherwise, when it comes to voting, I would rather we lump
Sure.
them together.
So just go through them.
Okay.
Please.
Can I ask
Okay, so-
one more quick question about the gutters? Are you wanting to do white gutters for
No,
those?
no, proposing a galvanized,
Galvanized,
but, to match the existing.
Okay.
The roof was a galvanized. I'm probably not gonna, when we present it and find out which color or whatever we're doing with that, we're trying to get the material passed,
Okay.
and then we can pick options and,
Gotcha,
you
okay.
know.
Okay.
All right.
And then, I'll just go right down the list if
All
unless
right.
you'll have
Yep,
some
go
more
ahead.
questions. B was add HVAC unit to the northeast side of the house, and that was just a little mini split. It's, we're gonna do 3 mini splits, but it only requires 1 outside unit. And that will be, it's only 24 by 24, 16 inches deep. That will be on it's the right side of the house, northeast side facing the house.
So is it visible from the road, or is there any shrubbery or anything that would obscure it?
It'll be kind of on, towards the back end of the house. I think on the picture, we have it facing more or less about 10 foot back from the right side of the house, but I'm proposing to put it back a little further. And there's no shrubbery there right now. Of course, they do plan on having some shrubs and stuff that will hide it. But there will
It's
be.
an easy place for some gardening, so that's a
Sure.
nice
Yeah.
choice.
Yep. Thanks, I forgot about the image.
C, if we're ready to move on.
Mm-hmm.
C would be raise the existing first story left southwest facade window to countertop height to accommodate a bathroom vanity. And I know how we're kind of particular with windows in this room, but what we intend on doing is taking the window itself. I build windows for a living, so I wish I could have talked to the gentleman that just.
I know, I thought that.
But, so what I propose to do is to take the sashes and to actually dissect them and rebuild it back. So not actually taking the window out, I'm actually just shortening the window. And what I'll do, instead of making a top window and the bottom window, if I just did the bottom window, it would end up being a different height than the top window. So I'll do it to both windows being the exact height. I'll repair the sill in kind, I'll replace the ropes, and I'll reglaze the window. But it will be using the same exact parts from the window to rebuild them. Replace the glass. I can even get the, if I can get the glass out, which a lot of times he's right, it's hard to get the glass out. It's encased in that, I don't even know what it is. It's more or less cement, but it's the glazing material they used back then. If I can get the glass out, we'll reuse the glass. So even just going as far as that's what we would do. So that would be for that window, for the countertop, for the kitchen. And if you look at the draw up that we have on that, that's just so the countertop can come across. If not, we would have a void behind it that, in my experience, I've seen this happen 4 or 5 times, and it's always just, there's something that falls back there, you can't clean back there, it becomes a spider nest behind it, and it's ugly as far as I'm concerned.
It's also difficult to open.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of creative thinking around it. You have to sort of lean over and somehow figure out how to lift the window and get airflow.
But we'll be cutting the window, replacing in kind, raising the sill, and changing it just on the height. The exact amount is not yet described, but we're proposing it's going to be 12 to 14 inches. Keep going.
Please.
Please.
All right. We're going to do the same thing on D, raise existing second story left south facing facade window to countertop height to accommodate a bathroom vanity, being the same height, same thing on the same window. So it would actually make those 2 windows on that side the same. Replace existing E, replace existing first story facade back window with 3 reclaimed casement windows. These are 3 windows that I've gotten from a job on Rivermont that I did that had the same exact mullion size, the same exact rail and style. It's identical. The only difference is that if you look at the windows, they're a 2 over 5 panel. This window, it doesn't have any of those 2 over 5 windows in them, but it's a different size. It's a casement, so it's opening like this instead of a double hung, which is, but it's a wood sash. It's wood everything. The mullion size is the exact same. It's 1 1/8 inches. And they're not the small mullions. These are a large mullion on the house originally. So it matches that exactly. And then G, add a pair of casement windows to the second story right back facade. That is right outside of the shower. It's on the back of the house. And they're going to be more or less about 5 foot high. So there'll be 2 casements that we reclaimed as well from the same house in Rivermont. And they're just going to open out, just casement windows, opening, same mullion size, same everything else.
Is the rear of the house visible from
No.
the street in any way?
It is not
I didn't think
visible
so.
from anywhere.
Yeah.
No, the only thing that's visible is the front and the left side facing. You can't get down the street enough to even see the right side facing the house. So you can barely see it. H, repair existing second story left back window with double hung reclaimed wooden sash window. Same thing we just went through. Same exact, everything would be in kind to the sill. It would be, I have reclaimed 3 3/4 depth sills that I'll be using. So we're not skimping on any of this or using any material that's, needs to be run through the HPC. It's all heart pine, basically.
And in fact, that's a vinyl window now that we're taking
Yeah.
out.
So we're pulling a vinyl window and replacing it with a historical window.
It's just too sad to have a window like that in a house that'll,
Just one vinyl window.
so it has to go.
Yeah. Replace existing first story back facade window with 3 reclaimed casement windows. Same story with the other 3 casements. These are the casements, they're all reclaimed. But this is on the back side in the kitchen. And the back side on the kitchen has 1 window, and there's really no light that comes in that area. This is on the back of the house. There's a little deck off the back. It will just open up into those. We're proposing to do 2 operational and the center one be a fixed window. Wooden sash, glazed, everything, old style, old locks. Add a pair of reclaimed casement windows to second story right back facade. Where is that? That is on the back side. And that is the same thing. And then add 3 reclaimed windows to second story left northeast facade.
Did you have a question about one of them?
I didn't look at one of those. Is there pictures of these proposed
Reclaimed.
replacement windows?
Yeah, there are.
Mm-hmm.
And
If you look at your printouts, it's the same thing as the digital copy.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's easier for you or not.
I got it. Thank you.
They will need renovation too, but at least they're up to period.
yeah.
Right. That's, I was curious how period correct they were.
Yeah, we've got to strip them and reglaze them, sand them down, and bring them back to life. Add some strings.
A little bit of work on our hands.
So I'm told.
Did you find what you wanted?
Yeah, yeah,
to
thank
find? Okay. Any other?
No more requests.
All right. Okay, commissioners, what questions have you?
I have a question about the update on the windows on the left side of the house that are visible from the street. For the upstairs bathroom window that you're wanting to shorten, is there any alternative for placement of vanity?
There isn't. Where we're proposing to put it's a pocket door. So when you walk in, the pocket door, like the vanity goes there, or it really doesn't go anywhere. It's such a small layout in that upstairs. It's hard to kind of position it anywhere else with getting a closet in there.
Yeah.
So we're proposing putting it in front of that window, and of course, if we do that, we have the same problem with it going back there.
Yeah.
It's just one room upstairs. I don't know what the square footage is, but it's pretty small, the amount of space. We have worked that layout
Yeah,
so many
it's
different
tiny.
times.
Yeah.
Okay. I think my concern with that, I don't necessarily have an issue with the window from the kitchen, because I think it seems like that might have been an addition at some point, and so having that not uniform doesn't really concern me as much, but the window above the, those 2 windows that are one above the other, my preference would be to keep those uniform as far as size goes, because those are the same windows that are also in the front of the house, and so it just, to me, that looks more uniform. But again, the kitchen window replacement is not necessarily an issue for me, especially since there are other areas on the other side of the house where the windows are kind of different sizes, and it's not, on that side, it's not uniform, so, that would just be my preference on that.
I'm sure it's here. It's just a matter of scrolling through. It looks like the windows that are there are 2 over 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the ones you're replacing are 3 over 3? Is that right?
No. The ones that we're replacing, where are the picture? They're 2 over 2. It's 2 sash. I mean, it's a sash window with 2 panes, and then over a 2-pane window.
Okay.
The casement windows are the only thing that is different. But if you look at, I don't know if y'all had the same page, but page 5, the existing window that was there is a 3 over 3, but it's a sash window. So that's why I kind of picked the casement windows that were a 2 over 5. It was a little closer than what's there.
And in the end, you're replacing all of them, so they'll all be uniform from that perspective?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah. They'll all be done in kind of what was there.
Okay.
And I don't know if this responds to Julie, but this house is situated so that you would have to go to the house and stand there and look at it because it's at the dead end of a street that you would never go on
Right.
if you weren't going to somebody.
One of those two houses.
Yeah.
It's like a dead end on a one-way street
Yeah.
that's in a cul-de-sac,
It's,
you know?
it's like you're going in a driveway
Yeah.
to get there. So they're not really visible unless you're standing there trying
Looking for it, yeah.
to see. So it's a neat little house.
We think so.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, Jonathan, do you have any concerns, thoughts?
No, I mean, it's a fairly radical change in terms of exterior. I don't have any questions.
Okay. Would someone like to make a motion?
I make a motion to approve as submitted.
Is there a second?
For everything.
Mhm.
Yeah, we can, if there's a second, we can discuss. but-
Okay, okay, further discussion? If not, are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, go for it.
Thank you.
Good luck. If you would leave your card or with, with
I
us.
think Victoria and
Okay.
Michael's got it, if you
Okay, I'll
ever
be
need it.
happy to give it to Mr. Bowen and,
Yeah. Maybe I'll
and he
stop
can do
by.
as he wishes, so.
Hey, thank you so much for your time.
All right. Okay, our last item is a request of Timothy and Kate Leland to add balusters on the front porch and handrails on the stairs at 716 Cattle Street. You will give us your name and address, please.
Good afternoon, I'm Scott Fogelman. I live in Porch, Virginia. I'm a former resident of Diamond Hill. I'm the realtor who represented the Lelands when they purchased the home. We were very fortunate to find a home a lot earlier than what they planned. Their intent is to move here sometime in the fall. And so we've located this house and went through the purchase process. And then during the acquisition of the property, we discovered that it wouldn't pass insurance because of a lack of handrails and banisters on the front. So as a safety feature, we're requesting to have those put in so that they can get insurance and then also be safe for them to live on the property.
Okay. Any questions? Or I assume this has to be done to bring it up to code also.
Yes, ma'am.
So is what is currently on the house, is that original?
I don't know if it's original or not.
Yeah.
The current, or the person who had it prior to them was an investor, and he had bought it as a foreclosure and flipped it. So there's absolutely nothing there right now.
Okay.
They do want to try and be consistent with the neighborhood and with the current property. Obviously painting it to match the porch, trying to match the porch colors as much as possible.
Yeah.
And they presented in the applications some handrail suggestions and some balustrades.
So that was gonna be my question, is what design or profile is it that you're requesting approval for?
I think they put it in there, and I apologize, they didn't send me all the details on the exact
Sure, so there are
request.
pictures that have, what I'm seeing, they look, I think, the same. There's 3 pictures of a white
Yeah, I think that's what's there.
handrail.
It's in a couple of different things, but what they kind of proposed or sent to me was just some pictures that, I can bring this up and show you from my phone, just a very kind of standardized, and I'm not really sure which height they're gonna use. Just a height that would be appropriate, probably the larger one, I would think.
Okay, so it looks very similar to what is in the
It's
picture.
there, yeah.
And just to try and be consistent, but, to bring it up to code and to bring it up to safety. And then some very basic handrails that, I think they're in the picture also, of what they had requested. And I'm not sure this is in the request or not, but they do want to paint the lattice to match the color of the porch. Just to, the lattice goes underneath of the porch, just to make it look a little bit more uniform.
Sure. So not to beat you up on detail, the handrails, you said very basic. We're not talking a 2x4, right? What are we?
No, sir. No, sir.
do you have
Actually, I
any-
can show you what they sent me. Some
Okay.
When I say very basic, like the standard, what I consider kind of a standard handrail.
Sure, and I'm not trying to beat you up,
No, I
it's just,
understand. I don't, I apologize for being vague, I didn't see what they sent.
sure. Did you all see?
I didn't see.
So are we talking about the larger one or?
I believe that's what they would
Okay.
do,
Okay.
the larger ones. So they should be pretty uniform, I think they would be about 3 feet tall, match code, the balusters, and then about 3 to 4 inches wide, as far as the depth goes and the handles between them. So,
Just to confirm, we're talking about wood,
Yes,
correct?
sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm not, are you able to see? See me, or did you?
Are they replacing the railings down the steps as well?
They're going to be putting railings on the steps. To get through insurance, we put up something very temporary,
Okay.
just for the insurance person to have something submitted for now. But it's something that's basically held up by about 3 nails, so that would come down and permanent fixture would be put in.
Okay. Is that what's pictured here currently? the
I don't
railings?
think they're actually in the picture. This is, it might be up there in the top left. It might be the right one, but what's up there was something put up very,
Okay, I
very
see
temporary.
the top. Okay.
And are you doing handrails on both sides of the stairs or just one side?
Both sides of the stairs in order to match code. And also, Mr. Leland does have a little bit of a handicap, so he needs handrails for both sides.
I move to approve as submitted.
Okay.
Is
So
that with the
second.
addition of the lattice?
Yeah, I'm sorry, based on, I'd say based on the pictures, but I don't have anything to reference or to cite, what you showed us on your phone. Well, it looks very similar to what's in the picture that's painted white, so something very similar to that. And yes, I would like to add the approval to paint the lattice to match the new porch.
Second.
Okay, further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Thank you very much.
can tell the Lelands to move forward.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you, you too. All right, our last item is a request of Kelvin Moore to add railings to the proposed decks, and this is a continuation from last month. Mr. Moore, if you'll tell us your name and address.
Kelvin Moore, 616 Court Street.
Thank you.
Oh,
So,
and I'm just,
you have the floor. You
I
sent
think
us-
I submitted the deck design for the main level off the kitchen and the roof at the rear of the house. It is basic, simple stuff that you all like to see, I guess.
For Julie and Jonathan, we requested that Mr. Moore come back with some specific information about
Design and
As far as
whatnot.
design goes. Okay.
So, right off to me, what jumps out is this doesn't have a historic appearance. This looks modern, like what you might see on new construction.
Yeah, it was taken right from your details that Lynchburg City promotes.
Is that right?
Yep. Yeah, it was taken from literature that you all promote for the historic district, so I just went with that.
You're citing, I'm not questioning you, I just don't know offhand. That's my thoughts. I know we've denied several that had a very similar design that looked, again, like something you would see on new construction.
Yeah.
Not that that sets a precedent, but
If it helps any, it's all at the rear of the house.
is anything visible from the street?
It
Behind
is
you,
visible
beside
from the
you?
street, yeah.
Yeah.
I, not being present in the meeting when you asked to come back, are there pictures of the front of the house? Is there railings on the front of the house?
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
So
And
there's
it's
nothing on the
ground level, the
Pretty
front
much,
of the
yeah.
house is,
Okay. Is there any sort of decorative details on the porch or?
No.
no.
Okay.
The guidelines do state that they should be simple rather than ornate in design. It is recommended that wood decks have square wood balusters set no more than 3 inches apart. Balusters should be no more than 2 inches in width and depth.
No kidding. Stand corrected. I know that we've, okay.
You're using wood to build the deck, correct?
Correct.
Are you planning on painting the deck?
I'm not sure what the owner wants to do in that, but we probably would recommend that, you know, after the wood cures a little bit.
It seems like it meets the
Yeah,
guidelines,
yeah,
so,
clearly I was off base there.
I would have thought the same thing.
Yeah.
So I move to approve as submitted.
Okay, so-
Second.
All right.
Yes!
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Okay,
All right.
Mr. Moore?
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. So, is there any other business?
Don't believe so.
Okay, well, welcome
Thank you.
to you two. We're happy to have you, and it's sad to say goodbye to Victoria.
If we've adjourned, I'd like to say thank you for all of your hard work in preparing this and keeping us on track and keeping us honest, like me just a moment ago. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. It's been wonderful working? Yes, working for you all. So
Yeah.
thank you all for 2 years.
Not
With,
for.
Yeah. And Eve, we look forward to getting to know you and working with you.
Well, thank you.
So, all right, well, we're adjourned, and thank you all. And
Didn't we, since we've adjourned, didn't we push back hard on the guy on Cabell Street to go in and deck him back? It was someone who's not here.